So one of the things I'm going to ask you to do on the skill exam that's going to open up on Saturday is to create a geodatabase and set the feature data set to an appropriate projection. So one of the problems with that is that you're not really going to know what the appropriate projection is until you look at the data first. So I have a setup that would be appropriate. So this folder has my name on it, and inside the folder I've started a geodatabase that has my name on it and a MXD that has my name on it. And as you notice, the MXD is not inside the geodatabase, and I set the relative pathways for that. So when I look at, I'm going to go to the top because that will show me which is my home folder here. When I open up my geodatabase, I haven't added my feature data set yet because I have to identify the coordinate system. And since I don't know what the coordinate system is going to be yet, the best thing to do is to add your shapefile data and take a look at it. So for example, I'm going to look at this US country data. And let's say, for example, I gave you these shapefiles that I want you to put into a feature data set. So I'm going to look at the feature data set. The coordinate system that I'm given is WGS84. That's not appropriate. So I want to make sure I know what that layer is. Okay, so that is all of the countries of the world. So that's a really bad example. But because it's WGS84, I know I can't do any analysis in that. So I've got to pick a global projection that would work for the world. Okay, so I'm going to go back up here now and do my new feature data set and call it, just keeping up with that theme so I'll know whose work is whose. And here's where I'm going to say, okay, I'm in it. The data that I was given is in a geographic coordinate system. I want a projected coordinate system, and it needs to be appropriate for world data. In this example, this is not what you will, the data that you will be given for the midterm. And let's say, okay, I'm going to choose Robinson. So now I have a feature data set that I can import my data into. That I need to add to that. The other thing you can do, sometimes import doesn't work. And so if import doesn't work, I will go and do export. So I'll take that. This is on my desktop, midterm, blah, blah. If I choose this, it's not going to go inside the feature data set, and I need it to be inside the feature data set. So here it says look in. I see my feature data set. So I'm going to make a copy here, and it works the same as exporting, but there it is. So now it's in there, and all my data is there so that I can work with that. I did a join last night in practicing some things, and to make that join permanent, I tried to export the data, and I kept getting an error message. I tried it 4 times, it wouldn't export it. So I saved, I shut down Arcmap, I opened Arcmap, and then it worked. So lots of times in Arcmap, if you're doing something and you think you're doing it right and the clips show that you're doing it right, sometimes it's just Arcmap. And so you have to close Arcmap and start over. Sometimes you have to reboot. And then it will clear whatever weirdo code is stuck back in the engine that's not letting you do. So those are my go-tos. I save, I try to close Arcmap and open it again. If that doesn't fix it, I reboot, and usually that will fix any kind of weird Arcmap errors. Okay, so I wanted to go over some of the summary questions. Now I'm just going to post this, okay, so that you can do the summary questions and then see how your answers, or the review questions, and see how your answers compare. or you can just copy mine and turn it in. I won't know, but maybe you'll learn more if you actually do them and turn them in. What I do want to go over is the exercises. So in the first exercise on page, I'm looking at a little bit older book, so yeah. Really? The exercises start on 113? Wow, in the older book they start on page 127. She dropped a lot of stuff. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay, 127 for the exercises. Okay, so the first thing she asks you here, I'm going to get rid of this stuff that I just made. Okay? The first thing she asks is how many counties in the United States have the name Washington? Okay, so I need the county data file, right? So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to open up the county data file here, the feature class attribute table, and I could sort, which would be an interesting way to do it, and look for the word Washington. That would be kind of an appropriate way to do that, but it's not what she's looking for. What she's looking for is an attribute query. So if I did a select by attribute and I choose, oh, wait a minute, I've made a join. Let me unjoin these. Okay. If I look at the attribute query and I say select by attribute, and what I want to say is the counties are called names. So I'm going to say name equals, and then I can choose get unique values and start typing Washington here, and it will show up, keeps me from, yeah, Washington. Apply. Okay, so 31 counties have the name Washington, right? And then she asks you what is their total population. So what would be your next step? Not some statistics, right? You knew what you were saying. So then you could just go to statistics and get your statistics here. Okay? So that's an easy way to do that. But what if I said, I want you to find all of the counties that are named Washington, and then I want you to find those counties that are in the state of Oregon, right? That's an easy one because you can see there's one in there. But so once these 31 are selected, I can make a new query. Select by attribute. I don't want to create a new selection. I want to select from my current selection. So from these that are selected, I want you to tell me a state name equals Oregon. And there I go, right? So this select from selected is a great way to do that. Another way to do that would be, so let's clear that selection. Select by attribute, what did I do? Name equals Washington. In that case, you could do that, but if I asked you to show me your query, you'd have to do it that way, right? Or if you had 20 counties or something, it would be better to have a list there, right? Okay, so I'm going to go name equals Washington. Okay, so did I do something wrong? I think I did something. Oh, try again. Select by attribute. Name. Oh, no. Oh, I said select, left it on select from current selection. Create a new selection. Okay, so I have 31, right? So another way to do that is to do this in 2 steps. I can take that and export the data. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in here called Washington counties. And now I have a feature class that is just those counties, and now I could do another attribute selection where state name equals Oregon.
that'll allow you to change the color on those as well, so they don't have to be highlighted.
Exactly. So once I've selected them, I could make a map of just those states if I wanted, right? Select by attribute, state name equals Oregon. Why is it not working? Interesting. Oh, okay, I know why. Not worth talking about right now. I goofed. Nope, there it is. That should be selected right there. So let's take a look at my... Oh, well, it should be state name equals, right?
Yeah, it says it.
State name equals Oregon. Let's just try it again. State name, create a new selection. Oh, look where I'm looking. I'm looking in layers instead of that thing called Washington. Okay, so it defaulted. It was trying to look in that field I had. So where state name equals, now I'm going to get unique value, Oregon. Yeah.
So if you don't even see the options over there, then you probably know that it's not looking in the right
Right,
file.
right. So there it is. So it selected that for me. So that's an easy one to do in 2 steps with select from selected or exported, and then you can select that separately. Okay. This second one is calculate the percentage of the population in each state that's African American. Has she asked me to make a map yet? So all I'm doing right now is looking at data. So she's saying in each state, so I think I'm using the state data here, right? So if I go to my attributes, and she just wants the percentage. Okay, so I don't have that data, right? So there's a couple things I could do. I need to create a new field, right? Because I'm going to do some math in here, and I need to create that field. Don't try to do it in the black field. Why not, Chloe? Because you're going to delete everything that's in there. Thank you, Chloe. Okay, so I'm going to add a field, and you can't start it with a percent sign, right? So I'm going to call it per black. And now I have to say the type. So if I do a percent, am I going to have decimals? When I calculate, I'm going to have decimals to make that calculation. So I'm going to choose, and I don't know how big it's going to be, and I'm lazy, so I'm going to choose double. Okay? So when I get over here, I can go to my field calculator. And so how do you get the percent? You have to get the African Americans are what part of the total, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. So I'm going to do, where are my black? So I want the blacks divided by, is it 210 or 2,000? 2,000 divided by 2,000. So I can just do that and calculate that. Okay, or I could add times 100 to get rid of the decimals if I wanted. There you go. Okay, so that gives me the percent of blacks in every state.
Is there any way to reduce the decimal points on that, or is that one that just stays that?
I can go into my properties here and say I only want 2 decimal points.
Can you switch it to percentage there, or will that also mess it up?
That if I've already done percentage, it'll mess it up.
But
yeah.
If you haven't, is that another way to get to it? By clicking on that and going through there?
Well, watch what it messes up how you read that, right? So you've already done the calculation, so I would leave it like that. Okay, so that's the first. So I've calculated the percentage of the population. So I've done all of that, and then how am I going to figure out which state has the highest percent? I'm just going to sort it, right? And it's going to pop it up there. Okay, and then now I need to know. The next thing is she wants to know the subregion, right? So I'm going to have to summarize this, do the summary on the subregion, right? So if I go to summary, is that not the next question? Yeah, what subregion of the count have I not
This
finished?
is which state has the largest number of African Americans, which state has the largest percentage of African
Right,
Americans.
so you can figure that out by just sorting that, okay? Yeah.
Your question was a little bit confusing.
Okay,
Attached to that, and I didn't know how to do it. I think
okay.
your question was,
I said, it just says which state, and I want you to give me the number of that state. What's the value?
what is the actual percent and the total?
Mm-hmm.
So,
So if I were to say that Hawaii has the highest, I'm going to say Hawaii has 2,203 blacks, and I'm going to say that it has 1.8%. I want the values that you got for your highest. Is that?
I thought you were asking about like the total in the whole country.
No, just
Okay.
I want you to give me what that, because the state answers in the back of the book, so I want you to actually give me the value of the percent that you calculated, okay? Okay. So if I want to find out that third one, I'm going to subregion, so I'm going to start there, because I want to end up with a sum by subregion. So I'm going to start with summarize. And it doesn't ask me about the percent. All it asks me about is the total. So if I wanted to find out how many Hispanics were in each subregion, I could just hit start with my subregion and end up with my sum. And I'm just going to add, I want to know what the total population is as well. So I've got two summaries here. And I didn't save it with the right name, which will lose you points on the midterm. I should have named this sub-his-pop, something like that, so I would know what that table was. Okay, so when I open this table, I now have the number of, so the Pacific region has the highest number of Hispanics. And the nice thing here is I can do an add field here, percent, double, okay, and I can use my field calculator to calculate the percentage just in this table. Okay, so I could say the sum of the Hispanics divided by the total population times 100. Cool. So now I know
So that's percentages now?
this is the percent of Hispanics in each subregion instead of the percent of Hispanics in each state. So I've taken that data and used the same field calculator methods to do that. And then the count represents how many states are in that subregion, right? So I could say, okay, then actually, yeah, so that's what it's counting. How many records did it add together in the Pacific? How many records did it add together in the South Central? And each of those records is a state, or is a county.
Is there any way
Is a
to
state.
highlight the lines between those subregions? Will those pop up like teal if you wanted to see what actually encompasses the west, south, central? I have no idea what
Yes,
that is.
so let's see, which one am I? Oh, no, this one isn't, because this is just a table, right? But if I wanted to find out which is the west, south, central, I would just say select by attribute.
Okay, and then you could do it, okay, by subregion.
Yeah, subregion equals whatever, okay? Oops, see, I'm layering there.
Oh, so then, okay.
Subregion equals, there. And then I get that showing up. Okay? All right. So now number 4, this is where you're actually going to do a join. So in number 4, she asks you to add the dating table. So I've got to go find, where is the dating table? Is it in, it's in the US data. Okay, here's US data, here's dating. So I'm going to add the dating table here. Okay, and I'm going to remove this one. Okay, so I've got the dating table. And she says, examine the table, which is always a good idea. Anytime you put in data, examine that data. So I'm looking at this dating table, and she's saying which fields could be used to join to the counties table, right? So I have to find a unique identifier for every 3,141 records. Okay, I cannot have a duplicate because this is going to be my source, right? Eventually I'm going to make a map, I think, and so I want to take this and add it to the other table. So if I look at U.S. counties, okay, so I've got state FIPS, but I can see right away that's not a unique, so that can't be a one-to-one. County FIPS looks pretty good, but when I look, oh, I don't want to summarize it. When I look here in 203, oh, look at those. I've got 4 counties that have the county FIPS number of 211. So I can't use that to summarize. Here's a 211, but the first 2 numbers are different. So by combining the state FIPS and the county FIPS, I have a unique identifier. So I'm going to sort this one way, and I'm going to highlight that and say Alabama, I can't even say that word. Anyway, so now I'm going to check my dating table again and see if that would correlate. So I'm going to take this one, which looks like it's the state and the county, sort ascending. Hey, that's pretty good. And then I might just go down to Sheboygan. Isn't that a fun word to say? 26031, and let's see if Sheboygan here is the same. How come I can't find Sheboygan? Oh, because it's by state. Ha ha ha. Well, I wouldn't bother doing that. Okay, what state was that in? Sheboygan was in Michigan. JKLM. Michigan. Oh, come on, up a little higher. Sheboygan. Yep, so those match. So I could also do a summarized table on each of these to make sure I get a one-to-one relationship. Okay, so now that I know that could be my joining table, I have to decide, do I want to add all the county data to the dating table, or do I want to add the dating table to the county data? Okay, and let's see, join, select the counties that lost population. So it doesn't, I don't think she asked you to make, oh, it does say make a map. So if I'm going to make a map, I have to start with counties. Okay, this has to be my destination. If I start with dating, I don't have anything to map because dating is a standalone. So I'm going to go up to counties, go join. It saw the table, that's nice. And I want to do the FIPS in the county data with the FIPS in the dating. Luckily it saw that. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to make sure that all of that dating information is added. Let's see. And usually, you see that asterisk? That means that it's a duplication, and that's an indicator of a join. And there's another one. That's an indicator of a join. So I know that data joined, and I don't have any null files here. So my join was successful. Ha. Table of contents. All right. Yes, sir.
So if you found one place to join the tables, and you looked at your joined tables, all the asterisks are other places you could join?
No, the asterisks are a duplicate. So it said, okay, you already had in your county's file, feature class, there was a field named object ID, there was a field named FIPS, and when I joined the dating, there's a duplicate field now named object ID and FIPS. It's just kind of letting you know. Right. It's just telling you, yeah.
So, doing the question, confusing which is the source of this name,
Yes, that's where I'm taking the source, the attribute table from dating, and I'm adding it to, where's it going? It's going to the county. So the county is my destination. So if I want to make a map, I need a feature class to be my destination. Okay, so now that I have those tables together, I can look at the lost population. And I can do this a couple ways. I can add a new field, right? And do the calculation that way. So select by attribute. No, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that yet. Select, I'm not selecting, Lynn, we're adding a field. Add a field. And it's called lost pop, okay? And I'm going to subtract whole numbers, so it's just going to be long integer, right? I don't have any decimals for population, so I'm good there. All right, now I'm going to take the difference between 1990 and 2000. So 2000 is in my counties feature class. 1990 was in my my dating feature class, or dating table. So isn't that interesting? It added things here. It shouldn't have added things there, but that's okay. So I'm going to do 210. So I want to lose population. So I'm going to start with 1990 minus 210. Okay, and this did not calculate. Okay, I know why. Okay, I think she doesn't want you to do that. The only way to make that calculate is to export this join and make it permanent. And that's kind of a new thing ArcGIS has added. You used to be able to calculate in a joined field. So I think what she's wanting you to do is select by attribute where 1990 is greater than 2000, which is the way easier way to do it. Not in states though. Okay, so I'm going to 1990 is greater than 2000. That was way easier. Okay, so there they are. Okay, so that's all she's asking. I was going to actually have you be able to tell you how many states were lost, or what the population loss was. So all of these are states where 1990 was greater than 2000, and so here they are highlighted. But to make a map of that, I'm going to export that data. Okay. All right, so there it is. I'm going to clear my selection. Huh. Okay, something happened. I love it. All right, let's try it again. All right, you know what? I'm going to make sure that my join is still there. Okay. Why? Okay, I'm just going to export this and call it join, dating join. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at that now. Oh, crud. This is very weird. So for some reason it only selected and didn't take any of that. Oh, fun. Did anybody else have trouble with this? Okay. No? All right. Those are all 31. What? Okay, so there they are. All right, maybe I just did the wrong. Okay, let's export this again. I might have done the wrong. Let's see, it's going to be called dating join 2. Wow. Okay, I don't know. I love Arcmap. Okay, so again, so something is selected that I don't want to have selected. So I'm going to clear all my selections. I don't want that. Okay, that looks good. Open. Do I still have the... I do. I have the dating information. My join is there. So what is the definition for insanity?
Trying something over and over, expecting a different result.
That's exactly what I'm doing here. Okay. You know what? Okay, I'm going to try this one time here. And nothing's happening. Okay, so this is where I'm thinking, okay, Arcmap is being very odd because there should be nothing wrong with this. Okay, so I am now going to export this to my folder as a shapefile. Sometimes that works. Let's see if that works. I was going to show you some problem-solving things today, so this is it. Yep. Okay, so nothing is there. All right. So in reality, what I should do is probably save
It doesn't
this.
have anything to do with the drives, that one's E and the other one's C.
No, it shouldn't matter. So what I should probably do is shut down Arcmap and try this again. So I'm just going to save it. And then we're going to open it again and hope that works. So usually when I make a join, I just export it. So let's make sure my join is still there. Okay, so the join is still there. Let me try one more time. Export data. All right. Look at all these things. I have so many of them now. Okay. Nope, I need to make it as a inside the file geodatabase. Wow. And it won't let me open up the geodatabase. Great. Wow. Huh. Okay, so there's a serious issue here with Arcmap for me. Oh, that looked better. But is it? Yay! Okay. So there they are. Okay, so the join works. So now let's see. I don't know what was going on. So we did a select by attribute, right? Where the 1990 is greater than the 2000. Okay, so so there they are. So there's my answer for, you know, how many of those, and I can figure out the percent if I wanted to. And now because this is in a geodatabase, I should be able to, since it's no longer joined, I should be able to do the lost pop. Nope, yes. Oh, there is a duplicate called lost pop already. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to do it this way, where I take 1990 minus, is that right? 1990 minus, yeah, 2000. Okay, so now I have the actual numbers of population lost. Okay, so either way that you do that is fine, but trying to do field calculations in a joined field no longer works in Arcmap, so you'd have to export that to do that. And so then on whichever way you do that, you summarize to determine the number of counties in each state that lost population. So in the old method, if I summarize this, so I'm only going, my summary function is only going to act on the selected features. So I'm going to summarize this. And now I'm going to remember to name it something. Lost pop by state. Put it in the map and add back my table of contents. I have to reboot Arcmap here soon. Come on, baby. Okay, so when I look at this, now I have that Texas had 68 counties that lost population, right? Because I did that summary. Does anybody remember what the number of total counties was? 681 or something like that. So if I look here at my statistics, oops, that's highlighted. If I look here at the statistics, it says, okay, there's 681 counties accounted for in this count field. Okay, so that's one way to check and see what you've done. When you get to 7, okay, that's where you may want to do things in two steps. And it says create a layer. So that's an indicator that you need to, if you're doing a join there, you want to start with your shapes or your feature class. And then number 10, no, 7 is the state. For number 7, you want to go back to the textbook. In fact, I have a little hint sheet with that one. You want to make sure that you go back to the textbook and look at that, because nothing shows up until you hit that last step in the tutorial where you're in 32 or 34 to look at a relate. You go through all this stuff and nothing shows up until you do that last step. And so a lot of people, when they're doing this one, they stop early because they're not seeing anything. But so make sure you go right back to the textbook and take a look at that, okay? You're not doing the challenge problem. And so that's that.